Past 2 months, the American news giant CNN has been making claims about Russian hacking, but that's without showing any concrete proof.
Russian hacks.
Russian hacking malware.
Russian cyber attacks.
The Russian hacking operation was detected.
The Russian hacks continue around the clock.
President-elect Trump just last night continued to dismiss both Moscow's involvement and the importance of the hacking at all.
But now eagle-eyed viewers have spotted the networks being using footage from the popular video game Fallout 4 to show Russian hacking.
Hold it now. CNN is teaching us something through successive habituation and conditioning. Don Lemon, who, by the way, remember years ago or a while back, said that he thought that the Malaysia flight might have been zapped by a black hole.
What if it was hijacking or terrorism or mechanical failure or pilot error? But what if it was something fully that we don't really understand? A lot of people have been asking about that, about black holes. And
then we have CNN, who also guaranteed that Hillary Clinton would win.
Let's be clear. Donald Trump will lose the election.
Could I just cut through? I have one thing to say, one thing only. And that is that this race is over.
CNN, who also had Donna Brazile, who was a surrogate, giving questions, basically, to Hillary Clinton.
Today we look at whether or not a CNN contributor, who is now the head of the Democratic National Committee, secretly forwarded a town hall question to Hillary Clinton's campaign before the town hall. So far, Donna Brazile has insisted that she absolutely did not. But now, new evidence shows that she did.
And what happens is people right now have been so conditioned to not even caring. Because think about it. What does CNN have to do next to completely lose whatever's left of this imaginary image it has?
So, new year, but same problem that faced you at the end of the year. You are in this bad situation where the president-elect is an outlier, not accepting the proof that Russia is behind the hacks of the election. Why does he continue to fight what is so obvious to so many?
Chris, how is it obvious? Have you seen a briefing? In other words, he's getting the briefing today, and we just were very concerned about all the leaks that happened, people running to the media rather than running to House Intelligence Committee meetings, closed-door meetings where they were invited to produce the information. Just this week, our own President Obama, received the final report. Apparently, just yesterday, you had the hearings on Capitol Hill. So the idea that somehow conclusive evidence has been out there in the public domain, provided to the president-elect, is simply not true. And the other thing that's going on here that's very disappointing to us in this building is how much people are conflating alleged Russian hacking with the actual outcome of the election. It's just nonsense.
Well,
the idea that Team Clinton is still running around, people are doing it, your network is doing it constantly, and that's what we need to push back on. The idea that there's this direct nexus between Russian hacking, which we're against any foreign government interference in our cybersecurity. Speaking of cybersecurity, did you hear the hearing yesterday? This country's cybersecurity is woefully underserved. It's a big problem that hasn't been tackled sufficiently in the last 8 years.
Let's deal with some points of pushback. First, the intelligence agency also said that disparagement is not the best way to help bolster our cybersecurity. I'm not saying be Mr. PC. I'm not saying be Captain Gentility and let everybody beat you up. But the idea of returning a blow every time you receive one, you know that doesn't work in any high-level situation.
Well, I'm a believer. Perhaps you're not. Maybe that's why your show isn't doing as well as it should be.
Oh,
because
you see,
really
that's
have a
not
better
nice.
show than that. But
That's not nice.
Let me just tell
that's
you.
Not nice.
Well, Kirby, I'm curious as to what you hear from your, if anything, from your counterparts in other Western capitals, in Berlin and London and Paris, about the Russian hacking, about the story. Possible concern that, for example, there would be an attempt on the German election against Angela Merkel.
It's a great question, Eugene, and I'll tell you, they are already, even before all of this happened, even before October, when President Obama publicly talked about our concerns about Russian cyber activities in the electoral process. European leaders have been concerned about this for quite some time. Now, I would definitely tell you that this has exacerbated that concern. You know, with elections coming up, as you noted, certainly they are all on alert right now, more perhaps than they were before. But this is something that, unfortunately, our European colleagues are all too familiar with Russia's cyber intrusions and efforts to affect elections there on the continent.
I mean, here the president says, I told him, cut it out. and tell him to cut it out, and there were going to be some serious consequences if he didn't.
This was an attempt to interfere with the American election process.
Correct.
And they've done this in Europe. They've done this elsewhere. But
they are doing it.
They are doing it.
Correct.
So Putin now is ignoring these warnings. He doesn't seem to be backed off.
There's a lot of classified input on this, Andrea, which relates to what people are or aren't doing at a current moment, so I can't really go into it. But I think that this has had an impact. I think that the United States has sent a very clear message about the unacceptability of this kind of behavior. Now, how we go forward is going to be determined to some degree by choices that the new administration makes. And obviously, it is going to be important that the President of the United States going forward has a clear understanding of the degree to which Russia is engaged in this activity and the threat that it poses to the United States of America. Now, hopefully, in today's meeting, that will be made crystal clear to the President-elect.
We know it's going to be made crystal clear. James Clapper made it very, very clear
that he's
going to make it clear.
Results in the President-elect accepting the information that is being made available to him.
What if he doesn't?
Well, let's not get into...
Okay, well, how damaging already is it? Clapper said, healthy skepticism about the intelligence community, all the mistakes that were made, WMD, that's good. Disparagement is not.
On Friday, President-elect Trump is meeting with CIA Director John Brennan, FBI Director James Comey, and the DNI's, the Director of National Intelligence's James Clapper, as they brief him, summarize what the 17 intelligence agencies say. Tell us who these three men are.
Well, interestingly, James Comey has become, after Vladimir Putin, probably the most despised villain in the Democratic narrative about what happened in the election. In fact, after the election, Hillary Clinton blamed not Putin or WikiLeaks, but Comey for why she lost because of the letter that he wrote shortly before the election, in which he said that the FBI was essentially reopening the investigation into whether she broke the law through the use of her emails. Comey was a Bush administration Justice Department official who was appointed not by George Bush, but by Barack Obama to be the FBI director. John Brennan was also a Bush-era CIA official who is a supporter not of all aspects of the Bush torture program, but some aspects of it, including rendition and other interrogation techniques that are widely regarded as torture. And he was made the national security advisor in the Obama White House after Obama tried to make him CIA director in the beginning, and liberals objected and blocked his nomination, but he ultimately became CIA director. So these are Obama appointees who are running these agencies, even though they were high-level Bush officials in the middle of important, controversial war on terror policies. And they have a long history, not just their agencies, but they themselves, of approving legally dubious, if not outright illegal programs, and lying to and deceiving the public. And so there are no angels in any of these machinations that are taking place as these various factions vie for power in this new scheme in Washington.